Good, happy Wednesday morning, February 5th, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Wednesday morning, so let's begin. First up, 3 Manchester police officers stabbed suffer non-life-threatening injuries. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
People living on Ahern Street in Manchester arrived home to this, a police presence in their neighborhood this afternoon.
There was ambulances, tons of cops here. I mean, there must have been 7 or 8.
Several officers responded to a domestic incident inside house number 6.
They learned that there was somebody in a back room, and they asked for that person to come out multiple times, but when the person did not, they entered the room, and there was a bit of a struggle when they were trying to arrest the suspect.
Investigators say the officers didn't realize the suspect, who has been identified as 18-year-old Akwasi Owusu, had a knife.
He pulled the knife out and was able to stab 3 officers.
Owusu has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree assault. He will face a judge on Wednesday. The injured officers were taken to the hospital and are expected to be okay. 1 has already been released. Cruisers could be seen lined up outside the emergency room to show their support.
Everybody wanted to make sure that they were all right. They didn't waste any time. Our chief has already been there. He says that they are in good spirits, which is very good to hear. And we'll just continue with this investigation and give you more information as it becomes available.
No word right now when the scene will be cleared. The other 2 officers we talked about tonight will be in the hospital for at least tonight. We're live in Manchester. Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. St. Anselm College poll shows Sanders, Biden in dead heat a week before New Hampshire primary. Buttigieg, Warren, Coldwell round out the top 5. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9.
Introducing the all-new reinvented Tempur-Pedic at Cardi's Furniture and Mattresses.
Designed with the most pressure-relieving material ever created.
It adapts to your body's unique needs throughout the night.
For deepest, most rejuvenating sleep.
Cardi's Furniture and Mattresses.
Back here in the Granite State, we are getting the first look at some new polling numbers coming out of the St. Anselm College Survey Center. In a poll of 491 registered voters conducted between January 29th and February 2nd, this has a margin of error of 4.4%. Bernie Sanders had 19%, Joe Biden 19%, Pete Buttigieg at 14%, and Elizabeth Warren and Amy Klobuchar were tied at 11%. Farther down the list, Tom Steyer clocked in at 5%, Andrew Yang at 4%, and Tulsi Gabbard at 3%. The margin error from that poll, again, 4.4%. Now, back to Iowa, and Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders might have the most to complain about in terms of how the caucus process turned out with those strong finishes.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Gardner predicts no problems for New Hampshire primary voters. Process will remain same as usual, Secretary of State says. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Sharif LeClaire.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Keep it simple. Keep the voting process simple.
That's exactly why Secretary of State Bill Gardner says voting will go smoothly here in New Hampshire a week from tonight.
The more moving parts you have in an election, the more potential there is for problems and mistakes and breakdowns.
Meantime, it will be the same process we've always seen in New Hampshire. You won't find apps, phones, or touchscreens to cast your ballot. It will be the moderators, clerks, selectmen, and poll workers who are seasoned in elections, making sure every vote is counted correctly. And we don't have issues like the Iowa caucuses did.
In New Hampshire, it's an election. It's a state election. It's conducted by the state. It's paid for by the people of the state. It's not run by party leaders.
New Hampshire Democratic Party Chair Ray Buckley says a post-mortem will have to be done on what exactly happened in the Hawkeye state, but for New Hampshire, the focus is right where it should be.
It's really the most magical week of New Hampshire, is that week between Iowa and New Hampshire.
Gardner says officials in Iowa had nothing but good intentions, but faced a lot of pressure to get more people involved in the process this year. He says it will be a moment to learn from. In Milford, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Buttigieg calls for victory to unify, holds 5 town halls in New Hampshire. Democrat presidential candidate speaks in New Hampshire as Iowa results remain uncertain. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
New Hampshire primary day, Tuesday, February 11th, is an historic moment. Together, we can defeat Donald Trump and create a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%.
Pete Buttigieg capped off his day at the Concord City Auditorium.
Well, I haven't had a whole lot of sleep in the last 48 hours, but I am having a very good day.
Telling the crowd the early results from Iowa are encouraging.
Let me say that we're still waiting on more masks to come through. But what we know, without any doubt, is that our vision has been validated and that this is an astonishing victory for our organization, our values, our campaign, and our candidacy.
He took questions from the audience, talking policy on prescription drugs, women's health care, gun violence, and defeating Donald Trump.
It's a moment in our future. That moment, the sun comes up over New Hampshire, and for the first time, Donald Trump is not the President of the United States.
Reminding Granite Staters he has 1 week left to earn their votes.
We have got to earn a victory 1 week from today right here in New Hampshire, and I believe you're going to help us do just that.
And Buttigieg has a youth town hall here in the state capitol in the morning. Live in Concord tonight, Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Warren says she's ready for a fight as New Hampshire primary approaches. Democrat presidential candidate answers questions from voters. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Straight out of Iowa and onto a stage in Keene, Elizabeth Warren said she's ready for a fight in the week leading up to next Tuesday's primary.
It is the moment right here in New Hampshire to choose the future we can build together.
In front of a good-sized crowd, Warren took a handful of audience questions, including one on immigration from a 7-year-old girl also named Elizabeth.
If you're going to close the camps. The camps.
The camps where the children are held?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes. I will, Elizabeth.
There were also questions on climate change and wealth inequality, and the supportive crowd liked what they heard.
I believed in her right from the get-go. I think she has the right idea to unite the party.
After spending much of her morning and part of her afternoon in Keene, it was off to Peterborough and a stop here at the Bagel Mill. With a smaller crowd, Warren continued her message of Democratic unity before selfies and a cup of tea. Her next event is Wednesday morning in Nashua. In Peterborough, Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Column vulture in New Hampshire after Iowa results delay. I thrive in chaos. Before potential results were known, Minnesota senator says we punched way beyond our weight. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
New Hampshire primary day, Tuesday, February 11th, is an historic moment. Together,
what an amazing night we had last night.
Less than 8 hours after landing in Manchester from Iowa, Amy Klobuchar kicked off her run to the primary in Congress.
I'm excited to be here. I thrive in chaos. I think you want to have a president that's in a good mood despite not knowing the results.
During a rally at NHTI, Klobuchar addressed the chaos at the caucus, mostly tongue-in-cheek.
Was it disappointing last night not to know what the outcomes were? I guess so, yes. But what we did know is that we punched way beyond our weight.
Controversy aside, Klobuchar focused her message on leading a campaign driven by affordable health care and closing the divide between the haves and have-nots. It resonated with the dozens in attendance, many who said they were unsure which candidate would garner their vote.
Were you undecided before you came in here today?
I was leaning towards Amy, but pretty much open. I think hearing her enthusiasm and hearing what she has to say helped a great deal.
Both my wife and I are pretty much convinced that she's the real thing. She's just very sincere. Has got some great ideas to get things rolling again in this country.
We built a team and we built a campaign, and that my positive message of bringing people together instead of dividing them.
Klobuchar's campaign says she will attend a climate forum tomorrow morning before flying to D.C. to vote in the president's impeachment trial. She's then expected to return to the campaign in New Hampshire immediately.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Biden says he's glad to be in New Hampshire after caucus problems in Iowa. Candidate says he's focused on New Hampshire primary. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
At Beltates, customers will find everything they need for a building project. The brand names you trust to perform. And with a fleet of over 50 delivery vehicles, we deliver when and where our customers need them. Beltates Building Products. 9 locations throughout New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Folks, it really is. I really mean it. You have no idea how happy we were to be heading to New Hampshire and Nashua.
Fresh from the Iowa caucus, Joe Biden was in Nashua on Tuesday to speak with Granite State voters ahead of the New Hampshire primary. The former vice president and his team addressed the caucus, telling the crowd, despite some hiccups, they feel good.
We had a good night last night in Iowa. And I know you think that's silly, but everything we can feel, it's good. Here's the deal. We think we're going to come out of there really doing well.
But we also want to make sure that the numbers have been checked once, checked twice, checked 3 times, and checked again just for posterity because of the failures that happened last night.
Team Biden says its focus is now on next week's primary. Some in the crowd today say they're still on the fence about Biden, while others say they're all in.
He's a gentle man who can reach across the aisle and reach out to all of our allies. Well, I would have been pushed over more if I knew the results from Iowa. I was counting on hearing the results from Iowa.
As for Biden himself, he has no worries about how New Hampshire conducts its primary. Any concerns going into New Hampshire?
No.
There you have it, a very simple but direct no as far as any concerns going into the New Hampshire primary. Now, the doors here will open at 6:15 with Biden arriving right around 6:45. Right now, it is unclear if he'll discuss these new results that we're seeing from Iowa. We're live here in Concord. I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News Now.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your 2020 New Hampshire candidate tracker for February 5th, 2020. And we have a big list of candidates that will be in New Hampshire today. Let's start with the first candidate on the list, Michael Bennett. Attend and speak at New Hampshire Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Joe Biden, he has 2 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, Get Out the Vote event at 1899 Ballroom and Function Hall in Somersworth, New Hampshire at 10:45 a.m. His second event, CNN Presidential Town Hall at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire, tonight at 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. at Dana Center at St. Anselm College. Pete Buttigieg has one event today in New Hampshire. Attend and speak at Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 9:15 a.m. Tulsi Gabbard, she has 2 events today in New Hampshire. Her first event, press conference and demonstration outside the CNN Town Hall at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire at 3 p.m. Her second event, Town Hall at Keene State College in Keene, New Hampshire at 6 p.m. Amy Cullen-Bulcher has one event today in New Hampshire. Attend and speak at New Hampshire Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 8:15 a.m. Deval Patrick has one event today in New Hampshire. Attend and speak at Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 12:15 p.m. Bernie Sanders has one event today in New Hampshire. Town Hall at the Derry Opera House in Derry, New Hampshire at 11 a.m. Tom Steyer has 3 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, attend and speak at Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 4:15 p.m. His second event, meet and greet with supporters at Two Share Brewing Company in Manchester, New Hampshire at 6 p.m. And his third event, CNN Presidential Town Hall at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire at 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. at Dana Center at St. Anselm College. Elizabeth Warren has 3 events today in New Hampshire. Her first event, attend and speak at Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 9 a.m. Her second event, Get Out the Vote event at Nashua Community College in Nashua, New Hampshire at 11 a.m. And her third event, CNN Presidential Town Hall at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire, from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. at Dana Center at St. Anselm College. Bill Weld, he's in New Hampshire today and has 2 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, attend and speak at Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 10:15 a.m. His second event, town hall meeting at the Arbor Restaurant in Nashua, New Hampshire at 6:30 p.m. Andrew Yang has 4 events today in New Hampshire. His first event, attend and speak at Youth Climate Action and Clean Energy Forum in Concord, New Hampshire at 2:15 p.m. His second event, town hall at Milford Town Hall in Milford, New Hampshire at 4 p.m. His third event, town hall at the Colonial Theater in Keene, New Hampshire at 6:30 p.m. And his fourth event, CNN Presidential Town Hall at St. Anselm College in Manchester, New Hampshire from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. at Dana Center at St. Anselm College. And those are all the candidates that will be in New Hampshire today on your 2020 New Hampshire Candidate Tracker for February 5th. A lot of candidates. CNN Town Hall. Tonight on CNN from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. is the CNN Town Hall at Dana Center at St. Anselm College. The candidates that will be on tonight are former Vice President Joe Biden, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, businessman Andrew Yang, and businessman Tom Steyer. You can watch it live tonight on CNN at 8 p.m. tonight. U.S. futures point to a slightly lower open as traders focus on virus and earnings. U.S. stock index futures edge lower on Wednesday as companies warned of potential hit to earnings from the deadly coronavirus outbreak. Heated debate over racist comments. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Next to race in America and a tense confrontation in a Michigan school, a Latino father was sharing a story about his son after being bullied when another father interrupts him asking, then why didn't you stay in Mexico? Other parents were horrified. And here's ABC's Steve Osensami now.
Right, that's right. Okay.
You're right.
There's a heated debate tonight among parents in the suburbs of Ann Arbor, Michigan over race and immigration, and it grew hotter after this meeting with school officials over what the school system says are racist comments posted on social media by classmates. Adrian Iraola is the father of 3 former students. He was speaking about racism directed at his children when the meeting went south.
When I went to his bedroom to say goodnight, and he was crying because of the abuse that he was enduring in this school system.
And why did you stay in Mexico?
You need to leave.
The school district is predominantly white, and Tom Bertel, the parent who interrupted, was defending students who made the posts.
Try being white and walk in a black neighborhood, see what happens, you know? And like this incident where somebody made a little tweet. Okay, nobody's hurt in that. You know, nobody got hurt in that. It was done off campus.
This man is a father of a son who was on the receiving end of the racial slurs that got everyone here.
My son comes to school every day trying to get an education, but he has to deal with that BS.
Iraola came to this country 4 decades ago and now owns 3 Mexican restaurants. In a late statement tonight, the Saline Area School District calls the remarks made at their forum racist and says they're working to ensure an inclusive environment for all their students and families. David?
Steve Osensami tonight. Steve, thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.